Welcome back to part 2 of the Minecraft Pagoda tutorial. Let's pick up right where we left off. So we are on this phase here. And of course, if you remember, we are focusing in on these two blocks here. And we are putting in some cross beams as well as some upright posts here. And some posts along the side here on their sides. However, in these sections, if you want to use full bark blocks, that would be acceptable. And it's probably something I should have done on the reference model, but I did not do it. And you can see that above that, you are doing this pattern here of upside down spruce stairs and slabs with some dark prismarine poking out from behind those in this pattern here along these sides and the diagonals. Okay, with that done, let's move on to the next phase. We're focusing on these two blocks here, and it's sort of a jumble of stairs and half slabs, all sort of sandwiched on top of one another. This is, of course, meant to replicate the intricate woodwork that is common on Asian-style architecture of this type. So let me give you a view from the top here. And the sides in there. Now you can see the floor that I kind of glossed over on the last phase, that it is the standard floor pattern we're doing with the 2x2 coffers and the beams on the middles of those, done like so here. You've already done one of these down here, so you're just doing another one over here. And you've got your sections over here with your stairs and half slabs being serving as structural members to help hold up the floor and pin it in place. So as you can see, you're just doing the beams around the edges here, and you're doing the prismarine right on top of those, all the way around the octagon from the top down according to this pattern here. All right, where are we? We want to go over here again, and you will notice that by this point, this here is going to be a mirror of this down here. You've already built it once, but you're going to need to build it again. So you can refer to what you did down here for these two block sections here that you're going to be building. So it should be the same for those two blocks in particular. So I will give you a good once over of the patterns that we have down here just to refresh your memory on that. As you will remember, it is alternating spruce tree trunks on their sides with spruce half slabs, interspersed among those with the stone buttons on their ends. And underneath here is my attempt to replicate, with quite a few stairs and half slabs, the intricate woodwork of the Asian type structures. That it's this is one of the key areas to getting the Asian structures correct, because on top of their posts they always have these heavy roofs sitting on top of them, but all of the wooden sections are meant to be sort of cradles that sit one on top of another, and they all interlock into each other, but they aren't nailed into each other. They are carved in such a way that they sit inside and on top of one another. It's one of their key features, which of course, as I remarked in the last video, when earthquakes come along, they can absorb the lateral forces because they are not nailed into each other that way. So let us go up and focus on these two blocks here. You are building this thing down here again. You want to build the entire thing one more time, as you have done previously. And let me give you a view of the room in here as well. because I think this room should be not this room, but not that one either. Okay, so this is the first room of this type that we are building in here. So this room in general is about 5 blocks tall around here. And you are doing the same beam pattern for the ceiling that you did for the floor and the ceiling of the previous room below that. And you're just stacking that with the same patterns that you see along here all the way around the room. And this is the first complete example of one of these rooms. So this room down here, we are going to be stacking that room on top of this room, and this is going to be the floor of the next room. Okay, I hope all that makes sense. Let's go over here. I think we can make up a bit of time in the tutorial because all of these sections from this point on are rather repetitive. So we're focusing on these 2 blocks here, which are, of course, it should be the same copy and paste of these 2 blocks down here. So if I zoom out a little, you can see that that is indeed the case. So you want to go through and build all of the patterns that you built below and build it again. And if you decided to change some of the details as you were building it, just build it exactly as you built it before so you can have everything match if you do decide to deviate from the pattern. But that is not really recommended. However, let us focus in on these 2 blocks here, which are, of course, would be the same as those 2 blocks down there, and you are building it, of course, all again for this level in here, as well as the room that I said that you are constructing up here. You're building another model of that. So let's move up 2 more blocks. We have more intricate woodwork at this level, which is, of course, the same as the intricate woodwork of this level. And you are going to be copying the entire section again that you built down below. So if you need to, you can refer back to previous parts of the tutorial, or you can just build a little scaffolding and reference down what you did at the lower levels and build it one more time. And you want to do the same for these block patterns here at these 2 blocks. And a view of the room, and a view from the top down here. Okay, we can move on again. We have another level. You're making another prismarine section. So you can tell that from here to here is sort of a module. From the prismarine very clearly illustrates that. So now that you have a complete module there, you build from here up to here another complete module, just the same as you built down below here. So I think we can save a bit of time and skip over some of these phases because, as I've said, you are building another module straight up according to the same patterns as before, as you can clearly see as we fly past them. So we get around to this section, and we now have about, 3.5 modules complete. So let's go over here to the next module. And I think if we build out at this level is where we should pick up again. So this level here is going to be, I think that might actually be the top level. So as you can see down here, you have from this dark prismarine level here, you have a module, then a second one, then a third one, and then a fourth one, giving you for the pagoda a total of 4 of these modules. So you want to build the same thing again, except when we are getting up here at the top, I think at this level things are going to be just a little bit different. And that'll be best illustrated if I go over here and show you that room. Because there is no longer an access ladder, which means this is the top, so I'll have to break the ceiling. So this is the topmost room, and I believe it is the most expansive room. It should be about 6 blocks tall. On average, I think the ceiling in here is just 1 block additionally raised in height compared to the other ones below it. But it's all a fairly easy pattern to do. It's nothing you haven't done before. So I will move on and cover, I think, the main roof below this should be exactly the same until we get to, what does it look like? It looks like this section here. This below here is where you were putting in this section down here, but you are no longer doing that. You are now doing that completely out of obsidian or blackstone if you decided to change the roof materials. And you want to build it according to these patterns here. The blocks all should be fairly high contrast, so all I have to do is give you a good look at it. And you can just replicate the octagonal patterns that you see here. So I'll give you a good top-down view, like so. And we will move on over here. So here is a top-down view of this next phase. And I think in the top here, there's a bit of wasted space. I didn't make an access to it, but if you wanted to have a sort of a secret room or something, you could fairly easily do that up here in the top of the attic, because you're just laying out some wooden beams across here, and there is a central support beam in the middle of that as well, and in the sides here, we're just covering it over with full spruce blocks behind the ascending blackstone and obsidian, of course, done like the patterns here demonstrate. And here's the one on the side. All right, let me give you a good long top-down view of this. As you can see, the dark prismarine is stepping in with a pattern of 2. We're also using a bit more of the regular prismarine right here for ornamental details, but they are stepping in at a pattern of 2 here, and then over a block, then 2, then over a block, and then 2, and then it's going to be the same thing over here for this next phase that we will go to. So I'll show you this from the top down so you can clearly see that the dark prismarine is heading towards the middle here. But it is rising a little bit faster than the obsidian and blackstone around it. Whereas these are going up at a more or less 45-degree angle. This is going up at a bit of a steeper ascent, as you can see done here. So if I show you this, the diagonals from the side and the straight sides here, just replicate those block patterns. And if we tuck in here to the ceiling, we can see that there is a tiny amount of space here if you want to hide your valuables chest up here or something. That'd be a good spot. Be a little hard to reach though, but nobody would ever find them for sure. Let's move on again to this section here, focusing on these 2 blocks. We're building up the dark prismarine ridges of the roof, and you're continuing up the pattern of the stair-stepping of the blackstone and obsidian on the sides here, except in the middle here, it goes up just a little bit steeper towards the end. You're putting your blackstone slabs right on top of your obsidian slabs at these last couple of levels, but not on the sides. Just in the middle here. All right, so let me show you this from the top down. Like so. And we will move on again to the next phase. So over here, I think we are just pretty much dealing with a wooden core and solid dark prismarine, done according to these patterns here, because this is just the point where everything is meeting in the middle, and it is all, of course, as you can see, heading towards a pinnacle at the top. And I have chosen to put some torches up here as well. But as I said, since if you build this in survival, you will need many more torches up here than what I have specified. So let's go over here. At this level, we are changing a little bit. We're putting in obsidian and just a little bit more of dark prismarine there, according to these patterns here on the top down. And if we move on again, on top of that, we are putting in a bit more dark prismarine and regular prismarine in a little square here. Fairly easy to do. And at this point, we are building up the pinnacle with pretty much solid prismarine, as you see done here in sort of a cross pattern. Except the details of this, we changed to having just a 1 block, but then we have 4 blocks on top of that in a cross pattern, and you want to do that again and stack that pattern again, like that. You want to stack that again for a 3rd time. And you want to stack it again for a 4th time. And on the top of that, you just can go straight up and add 2 more blocks and a torch. And that will give you the pinnacle of the Asian pagoda. And with that last block in place, the Asian pagoda will be, at long last, complete. So I hope you have enjoyed the Asian pagoda tutorial. Part 2 is not quite as long as I thought it would be, because the repeating sections in the middle, I figured that didn't really need a whole lot of explanation, since they are just repeating segments. But also remember, if any parts of the tutorial were unclear, the entire world that I've shown to you today is of course available for download in the video description, so you can come here and take a look at all the phases laid out for yourself in case you need to see it in person. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.